How's it going, guys? Shape here, and welcome to the channel. This video is going to cover everything you need to get done before Shadowlands and a few things that would be a good idea to be prepared with. We finally know how much time we have left, and there's a lot to cover. If you guys haven't heard, then Blizzard came out with a statement the other day saying that it would launch as early as November of this year. No specific date yet, but this is the best information we had to this point. I'm going to cover everything from a hard deadline to some soft deadlines and just overall tips to prepare yourself for the new expansion. The hard deadlines are going to be the ones you want to focus on the most during the next few months, as once Shadowlands arrives you won't be able to obtain these anymore. The soft deadlines are going to be more forgiving, as they will still be able to be accomplished, but they will be a bit harder or more annoying once we are in Shadowlands. I want to also preface this, as you probably won't be able to get all these things on the list accomplished before, and that's more than fine. Going for completionist is downright insane when you think about everything there is to do in World of Warcraft, and I personally won't be achieving all of these either. So with that said, let's hop into it and not waste any more time. Be sure to turn on your notifications, make sure you have that bell rung, and drop a like so you don't miss any of my future content. If you have any questions, drop a comment or tweet at me. Also, be sure to drop a comment on what you are focused on getting accomplished before the end of Battle for Azeroth. The first hard deadline I'm going to cover is the Ahead of the Curve achievement you get from killing N'Zoth on heroic difficulty. This achievement will definitely be going away once Shadowlands launches, as it normally does every expansion. Killing N'Zoth on heroic also gives you the mount, the Uncorrupted Voidwing. So if you are a mount collector and want to make sure you have one of these, then you at least need to go in and kill heroic N'Zoth once to obtain it. At the point we are in the game right now, where everyone is decently geared and has their best corruptions, killing heroic N'Zoth isn't too hard anymore, and you are pretty safe to pug. If you have a guild that hasn't completed this yet, then that will be your first option, because it will always be easier to do this kind of stuff with people you already know and play with. If you don't have a guild that can currently do this and want to get a kill, then you can definitely pug it, as I think this is doable as well. However, it might be less likely you get invited to a group if you already don't have the achievement. Now, if you're unable to pug it and you don't have a guild, then there is a last option that you would just buy a carry. Most if not all the servers are filled with groups that are selling these runs every night for the most part. If you've been holding on to some gold and want to make sure you get this achievement and mount before it's unobtainable anymore, then this would be a great option for you. The next hard deadline achievement we're going to cover is the Battle for Azeroth Keystone Master achievement for Season 4. This achievement comes with the mount, the Awakened Mindbore. To get this achievement, you're going to have to complete every Mythic plus Keystone dungeon on plus 15 or higher in the time allotted. You can also get the title The Awakened if you complete all of the Mythic plus Keystone dungeons on a plus 10 or higher in the amount of time allotted. It is said that these will go away in the pre-patch, which is usually a few weeks to a month ahead of the actual launch. So if you plan on getting either of these, if you already don't have it, then I would suggest you get a group together and start knocking these out. If you don't have a good Raider.io score and are just starting to go for this achievement, then you might have a rough time getting into some groups. If you have some friends that are also wanting to get this achievement, then you can start by doing some lower level keys and working your way up as you go, because as long as you are timing the keys, then you will keep increasing the level of the key to hopefully end up where you want to be. This will also in time increase your Raider.io score so that more people will be more willing to take you on their runs as well. Usually around the end of the expansion, I have seen some groups in Group Finder that are more relaxed groups that are doing an around the world type approach on getting all of the dungeons done in time, so definitely be on the lookout for these type groups. Another option is if you don't have the group to do these on your own and you can't get invited to do them either, is to just buy a carry. If you are sitting on a lot of gold, then there are always a ton of carry groups selling in time 15, so that is an option as well, but it will be definitely expensive. Depending on your realm, these carries might be going anywhere from 150,000 to 200,000 gold per run, so if you need all the dungeons, just do the math on that one. Maybe you can convince the group to give a discount if you're going to be purchasing all the runs from them. Good luck with that. The next hard deadline is going to be some, if not all, the rank 4 essences and the Azeroth Champions title. There isn't any word on how many of the essences won't be obtainable, so I would just treat it as they're all going away, so just in case you don't want to miss out on getting any of them. At least a few of these will definitely not be obtainable, as they are tied to current content achievements. This means that the Azeroth Champions title will also be not obtainable once Shadowlands gets here, because you have to have all rank 4 essences unlocked to get that achievement. This is definitely one of the harder achievements to complete and is going to take the most time and dedication to unlocking it. I personally have no plans of going after this achievement right now unless something crazy happens and I wake up one day soon and change my mind. As of right now, it is still an insanely low percentage of players that have actually completed this, and I would almost bet that you won't be seeing that many players with this title. With that said, if you're going to be going for it, I wish you the best of luck on your grind. Now we're going to be getting into some of the more softer deadlines, and we're going to start with the Caravan Brutosaur. Now this is going to be one that isn't entirely going away when Shadowlands arrives, it just won't be available from the vendor anymore and will occasionally show up on the black market auction house. It is tough to say how much it's going to be going for on the black market auction house, and some people are stating that it's always going to be at gold cap, but that would really make no sense to me, as if you couldn't buy it at 5 million when it's available now, how are you going to have enough gold to purchase it at gold cap? Most players, if they wanted to obtain the mount, would have already purchased it for 5 million instead of waiting on the black market auction house prices that we just don't know right now. Either way, once Shadowland gets here, you will no longer be able to buy it from the vendor for 5 million gold. If you guys are still planning on going after this mount and haven't really started saving up gold, then I would say we are beginning to get around crunch time to being able to make that 5 million gold. A lot of farming methods that have been successful in the past have fizzled out as of late, and sticking with the raw gold farms can only get you so much gold in a short period of time. I suggest you check out some of my best gold farm videos and see if there's any methods listed that are still worth doing on your server, as some are still pretty profitable. Right now we still don't know if the Brutosaur vendor will be leaving in the pre-patch or the actual launch of Shadowlands. For that reason, I would treat it as it's leaving in the pre-patch if you're going to be going after this mount, as you wouldn't want to miss it. As of right now, Wowhead is reporting only 4% of the registered profiles have obtained this mount, so if you want to be a part of that club, then I suggest you get to farming some gold. Some other of the soft deadline items to focus on are the current mythic raid mounts. The current tier mythic raid mounts aren't going to be going away, but instead of dropping 2 mounts 100% of the time, they will get changed over to dropping most likely less than 1% of the time. The first one we're going to talk about is the Glacial Tidestorm mount that drops from Mythic Jaina. If all possible, I would definitely be doing this every week if you have a group, and hoping that you are one of the 2 lucky people that gets this mount to drop. There are currently a lot of guilds that offer this to potential buyers for a large lump sum of gold. However, that gold amount has recently dropped, with Blizzard adding a skip right to Jaina so you don't have to clear the rest of the instance. This is very strange on why they decided to do this so late in the expansion, while some others didn't get a skip to them, but nonetheless, if you have some extra gold lying around and want this mount, then the carry option is always available. Right now, only 1% of the registered Wowhead profiles have this mount. The second mount is going to be the Ny'alotha's All-Seer mount that drops from Mythic N'Zoth. This out of the 2 mounts is going to be more difficult to obtain unless you have a guild that is currently clearing Mythic Ny'alotha. Some guilds are even starting to offer this as sales runs as well, but these are few and far between at this point, so maybe give it a few more months and then you will see this to be more common. This is also going to come at a much more expensive cost, because this is the end tier final boss mount and there is currently no skip directly to N'Zoth. So if this is the only option you have, then I wish you good luck. With all that being said, there isn't really any rush on these 2, as you'll be able to come back and solo these raids one day or go into smaller groups to try and get them out. Whichever method is more obtainable for you, then I suggest you stick with that one unless you just can't live without these mounts. For this next one, I am not sure if it's going to be a hard deadline or a soft deadline, because we currently don't have any indication on what Blizzard plans on doing with island expeditions. So these aren't being removed per se, but it might be hard to find groups to do them. The ideal situation is they're kept in the game and you will be able to solo them. There's a lot of good stuff from Island Expedition that includes mounts and pets, so you definitely don't want to miss out on those if you care about that kind of stuff. Currently, the easiest way to grind out the mounts is just by doing Mythic Island Expeditions and turning in the doubloons you get for them to the loot boxes that have a higher chance of dropping the mounts. Here's a list of which mounts has a chance of dropping from which loot boxes as well for your guys' reference. Again, there's no information as of right now that says whether or not these are going to be removed or changed in any way, so if anything, they might just be more annoying to get groups for if it isn't changed to where they can be completely soloable at some point. Next up on the list is Horrific Vision achievements. These achievements may or may not be doable after Shadowlands comes out. If I had to guess, you are not going to be able to get the Feat of Strength achievements that are tied to these visions. They might keep in the Male Muncher mount as well as the pets to drop from here as well, but there's no guarantee on those either. The Black Serpent of N'Zoth mount is most likely going to be no longer obtainable once Shadowland gets here, because that is tied directly to completing the Visions of Stormwind and the Vision of Orgrimmar with 5 masks on. This feels like it would be something that would be taken out because this could be compared to the Mage Tower appearances that were removed from the game previously. There's also the title The Faceless One that is tied to the achievement Mad World, and you get this from completing both sets of visions solo while wearing 5 masks. I would expect this to be unobtainable as well once Shadowland gets here, so make sure you're starting to do some of these solo to practice if you aren't comfortable with already doing these. There are plenty of guides out there now for just about every class on how to do these with decent gear and cape level, so I'm sure you guys can get this done if you really put your mind into it. This next one is super important if you already don't have a Demon Hunter or a Death Knight character on your server. You will want to at least get these started if you ever plan on playing the class, as you will start at a higher level once Shadowland comes out if you just create them now. You don't have to do much other than besides log into them into the starting zone and create the character for them. This will start you at level 98 and 55 respectively for the different classes. Once Shadowland's pre-patch ends, Demon Hunter and Death Knights will start at level 8. Now if you leave them at level 98 and 55, you aren't going to be a max level character with this level squish, but you will definitely be higher than level 8. Another achievement that also might be leaving when Shadowland gets here is the Brawlers Guild achievement. The Brawlers Guild is still in the alpha, and if you go there it just tells you to come back once you're at a higher level, so they might be keeping this one or just haven't taken it out of the alpha yet. Either way, it's going to be much easier for you to go and do them now on your max level characters with all the corruption gear you have, instead of trying to go in there and do them as a fresh max level character in Shadowlands. The current Brawler Guild mount will definitely be going away when Shadowland gets here, so that is a hard deadline to obtain if you already don't have it. Now one of the last achievements I'm going to cover here is another one we don't know if it's going to be going away or staying in there. Is going to be the Herald of the Titans. There's been absolutely no mention to if this achievement will still be doable or not in Shadowlands. My guess is that with the level squish happening, this achievement might go away as well. For this achievement, you will have to go in and kill Algalon the Observer at level 80 without anyone in the raid wearing items higher than item level 100. If you do that, then you will get the title Herald of the Titans. Definitely one of the more prestigious titles out there, as you just can't go in and cheese on a higher level character since you have to be a certain level and not have gear over a certain item level on. In the alpha, the achievement is still in game, but it still says level 80 as the requirement, so either it hasn't been updated to the correct level with the level squish coming, or if it stays that way, then it wouldn't be able to be attained in the Shadowlands. As of right now, Wowhead is stating only 5% of the registered profiles have obtained this title, so if you want to be in that top 5%, then I suggest you go and do this before Shadowlands comes to make sure you don't miss out on obtaining it. The last couple items we're going to be talking about aren't really deadlines at all, but it is something that everyone should be focusing on as a new expansion arrives. The one thing that you don't want to have to worry about is when you're leveling or once you hit max level is the amount of gold you have. Yes, you will make gold as you are questing throughout the expansion, but once you hit max level, you're going to need certain enchants, gems, potions, flasks, and many other things that are going to cost a lot of gold in the beginning of the expansion. This is assuming you don't have the means to craft any of these items yourself and will be spending quite a bit of gold on them. Now if you are a gold farmer like myself, then the beginning of the expansion is a heyday for us because we are going to be focusing on providing all of the items to the player base, and prices are going to be crazy high for the start. For this, you want to make sure you are leveling all your professions right now, so you at least have one of each profession available to you on either an alt or your main character. You will want to make sure that your gathering professions, and maybe some crafting ones as well, are on the main characters you plan on leveling first in Shadowlands. This is very important as you can really make a killing at the beginning of the expansion if you have the right professions level. Now we have no way of knowing which profession will be the best in Shadowlands right now, but it is always a safe bet to have herbalism and alchemy going into an expansion, and that is what I will be focusing on. Leather also sells really good at the beginning of the expansion because people will be crafting leatherworking gear as well. Another profession to maybe focus on is going to be enchanting, as everyone is going to need enchants for their new gear and with the new item enchants. I don't think you really can go wrong with any of these professions, but you definitely want to make sure you have a few good ones to start your Shadowlands experience. Well, there you have it guys, everything you need to be doing to get prepared for Shadowlands. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to let me know any other deadlines I didn't mention that you were focusing on. Please drop a like if you enjoyed the video to show some love for the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.